Hello everyone. I, 28F, used to be best friends with Anna, 28F, since high school. She was popular and outgoing, while I was the introverted nerdy friend. In high school, I had a crush on Ethan, 28M, but I assumed he'd prefer Anna, so I stayed out of it. They started dating, and I supported her with reluctance because of their toxic, on and off relationship. Over time, I grew to dislike Ethan because he was rude and mean. They broke up when we were 21, but got back together with him a year later and eventually got engaged at 23. 3 months before the wedding, Ethan drunkenly called me, asking why I rejected him. I dismissed him and said he was drunk and ended the call. The very next day, I was kicked out of group chats and ghosted by everyone else in our friend circle. When I texted my friends to ask what happened, they gave me the silent treatment. When I reached out to Anna, I found myself blocked. Desperate, I even tried calling Ethan, but my number was blocked too. I had no idea what I'd done wrong and I wished anyone would tell me. That week was hell. Anna's silence hurt the most because, at the time, she meant everything to me. I barely slept, battling panic attacks at night while trying to keep it together for class during the day. If not for my supportive roommates who helped me through my panic attacks, I don't know how I would have made it through. Anna and I attended the same local university but took different courses. I waited for her outside her class. When she came out with her friends, I pulled her aside and asked what was going on. She accused me of being a fake friend who tried to steal Ethan. I denied her accusation and asked for proof, but she went silent and left. They didn't unfriend me on Facebook, but kept posting about their hangouts and the bridal shower, along with indirect jabs at me. I eventually deleted my old account, and changed my number. I slowly rebuilt my self-esteem and moved on. I recently created a new Facebook account. A few days ago, I was added to a group chat for our upcoming reunion, which I had no idea about. They greeted me, calling me class president as if they hadn't shunned me 6 years ago. I left the group, but they messaging me. Anna kept calling, so I finally picked up out of annoyance. She told me that she was sorry for everything and wished for me to come to the class reunion party. The party didn't seem to be complete without the class president every year. She told me that she divorced Ethan after 2 years of marriage. She tried to reach out to me but couldn't find any of my socials or contact info after we graduated. I asked her why she was telling me all this when she was not important to me anymore. She cried. I ended the call and continued ignoring their messages on Messenger. My family says forgiveness is for my own peace and that it doesn't mean forgetting. But I don't feel anything anymore, only indifference. I don't owe them anything to ease their guilt. So, Ida? Update, November 21, 2024. Hey guys. Some people from my previous post suggested that I reach out to Ethan. However, before I could do so, he reached out to me first. Yesterday, I received a friend request from him, along with a message saying hi in my messenger. So, we talked. He invited me for a coffee this weekend so we can talk about it. I told him to not push his luck and just answer me. I asked him about his call that night. Since most boys were too intimidated to approach me, they often asked Anna to convey their feelings to me. Ethan was one of them. Apparently, a lot of boys had a crush on me back then. But at the time, only Anna received open confessions, so I assumed I was undesirable, not that it mattered to me. I was foolishly infatuated with Anna, so much so that I would have rolled out a red carpet for her to walk on if I could. She was my entire world back then. Not even once have I ever heard about any boys in high school liking me from Anna. Apparently, Anna would always came back to them with her apologetic face, telling them that I had rejected them and repeating the insults I had supposedly said about them. No wonder some people back in high school called me arrogant and disliked me for some reason. I just thought it was because I was a strict class president and student committee member. Unlike Anna, who was friendly and charming, I was strict, sharp-tongued, and rarely smile. I don't owe anyone a smile. Ethan explained that he was mean to me back then because Anna told him I had said he was an orphan abandoned by his parents. This was a particularly sensitive topic for him, as he had been raised by his grandparents since childhood. He later discovered the truth when Anna inadvertently admitted it during an argument. That moment led him to file for divorce. Ethan shared that he genuinely did love Anna, but her constant insecurity and habit of bringing up my name in every argument strained their relationship. She either accused Ethan of still thinking about me or compared him to me. Anna did found out about Ethan's drunken call that very same night. They had an argument, and Ethan came close to calling off the wedding, but Anna guilt-tripped him into staying. Neither Ethan nor Anna lied or twisted the story. Anna simply told our entire friend group to stop talking to me. They knew I hadn't done anything wrong, but somehow, it was still my fault that Ethan had unresolved feelings towards me. I was, and still am, an introvert, and most of my friends back then were hers. It wasn't surprising that they followed her lead when she turned against me. They were always her friends, not mine. Anna and my ex-classmates then painted me as a villain to the other friends from high school. Ethan didn't do anything to help me because he was manipulated to hate me, his words not mine. That's why I changed my number and deleted all my social media accounts. While no one directly bombarded me with mean messages, I constantly saw posts that seemed to be aimed at me, even though my name was never mentioned. Ethan only revealed everything to the other friends after his divorce with Anna was finalized. Now, Anna and my ex-classmates are the ones being shunned by the others since 2 years ago. Ethan said he owed me an apology, though he knew it wouldn't be enough after everything that happened. While he never smeared my name, he stood on the sidelines and did nothing simply because I rejected him and called him an abandoned orphan during high school. He asked me if I will be going to the upcoming reunion party. Turns out the reunion party this time was for the 1995 high school batch. My ex-classmates probably wanted their former class president to attend for appearances. I told him I won't go. He said I can sit with him and his ex-classmates if I wanted to. Why would I? Brother ugh. I told him I wouldn't be attending because I have no friends from high school. He mentioned that the others would be sad if they heard I said that. Well, screw them. I received a lot more messages from old friends but I didn't respond to any of them. I have no attachment towards them. I told Anna that Ethan already told me everything. She called me on Messenger again, sobbing. She admitted she might have been a terrible friend, but that she did care about me. All those years, I was always on her mind. I was too attached to her back then because she was my first real friend, as I had no friends in middle school. I was too shy and quiet so I couldn't make friends. Anna taught me how to make friends and overcome my social anxiety, and introduce a lot of people to me. I learned to cook for her and took care of her when she was sick. I even protected her from creeps. Everything I did was for her. Now that I think about it, it was kind of unhealthy. Maybe she wanted me to be that version of myself again, only for her convenience. She begged me to try again. That she would be a better person for me. But I just ended the call and blocked her. After a few minutes of contemplating, I decided to delete my Facebook account again. I have a feeling that if I didn't, they will keep on bothering me. I'll settle with a fake account. The main reason why I made my Facebook account is to play Harvest Town anyway. Sorry for the long post. This will be my one and only update. I want to thank the 4 people who personally messaged me on Reddit. Your messages meant a lot, as not many people have done so much for me in my life. I hope my update answered your questions. Farewell. Additional information from Oop on clarifying her timeline. English is not my first language. We were born in 1995. What I meant was reunion for year 1995 students' comments where Op has replied, commenter 1, cause, perhaps, in a way she was. For all we know she liked Op romantically, and simply never admitted those feelings, perhaps even to herself, cause even if it isn't strange for a mean girl to lie about the interest a boy she likes has for her friend, it is odd to do it to all love interests Op had. How do I know? I'm a bisexual woman, admitting to myself that I liked other girls as a teenager, wasn't easy. Oop, do you really think so? I thought it was normal between female best friends to hold hands and sleep together. I'm bisexual too. Commenter 2, it's brave of you to confront your past. You're not obligated to forgive anyone. Prioritize your own peace and build healthy relationships moving forward. Oop, thank you. I really do feel indifferent now. It has been 6 years, and I have better friends now. I'm content with my life. Commenter 3, nothing weird about holding hands and sleeping together, with full clothing on and just sleeping in the same bed, I mean. But rejecting all potential love interests is a red flag. Oop, me and Anna never do anything. But she would always lean on my shoulder and hug me when sleeping. She always insisted that I sleep over at her house on the weekend. Commenter 4, perhaps Anna had feelings for you. This doesn't excuse any of her shitty behavior, honestly. It reminds me of a popular girl I knew in high school, who liked me, but we were very incompatible, so I rejected her. Let me tell you, she made my life as hard as she could for as long as we were in the same class. It doesn't excuse any of Anna's awful behavior, but it is a possibility. Oop, I doubt it, honestly. Maybe she just likes the idea of being taken care of. She had no problems throwing me away for Ethan. But now that I think about it, our dynamic was weird. And maybe this is too much information. I didn't date back then and only hooked up with people because Anna didn't like them and she didn't agree. And now, I have trust issues and am too afraid to commit in a relationship. It's not that I like to cheat or anything. I'm just too afraid to trust my life and my heart to someone else again. Next story, sister's wife treated me like I didn't exist and hid their baby's gender from me. When my sister found out, she said she'd jump in front of a train for me instead of her wife. My sister is a lesbian, and married her wife a year ago. They receive financial support from my parents, they're wealthy, and generous, have good jobs, and as such, have decided to have a baby. Currently, her wife is about 6 months pregnant, and the two of them are visiting for holidays. I'm in college, so I don't see them very often. Yes, my parents give me financial support as well, everything is fair and square, but I'm really excited for their baby. My sister and her wife had been dating since their senior year of college, and were friends since childhood before that. I'm 7 years younger, so I was kind of left out of the loop. I never knew my sister's wife until they got married, and even then, I was swamped with my first year of college, so I didn't really ever get to know her. I was really excited though for this trip, since we'd get some one-on-one time together. Our parents live about 2 hours away from my sister and her wife, and I flew in from across the country. We're all staying with our parents, who are not yet retired. My flight got in yesterday late at night, so I slept in. My parents went to work, my sister went to go do some shopping. My sister-in-law stayed in with me, but I didn't realize she was around until she came downstairs while I was making lunch. She's pretty obviously pregnant, and I haven't seen her since her wedding, so I was really excited to see her. She was not. I said hi, and went to hug her, and she backed away. I apologized, and she just kinda looked at me weird, and went looking through the fridge. I tried to make small talk with her, so I asked when she was due. She gave me a really weird look, like I'd asked what her cup size was, and then just said March and kept making her food. I said I was really excited to have a niece or nephew, then asked if she wanted a boy or girl. She sighed really loudly, said she didn't care, and moved on. My sister had mentioned that her wife had PTSD due to a previous pregnancy, so I worried that might have been it. I tried to shift the subject, and asked how her work was. She set her knife down really loudly, stared at me for 30 seconds, then said fine and went into the dining room without saying anything else. Throughout the day, I kept just trying to interact with her. Offered to get her a drink while I was in the room, she just muttered no, asked what she was watching, you wouldn't know it, it was The Simpsons, said I was really glad she was spending the holidays with us, a very begrudging yeah. Really, I thought this must just be how she is. Then, my parents and sister came home, and she was super cheery and nice to them. My dad was asking if they had names picked out, and she just wouldn't stop chattering on. My sister said she wanted a family name, and her wife insisted on a unique name. My mom pointed out that my name, Anais, isn't very common, but it's also a family name, same as my grandmother, and they should consider it. I said I wouldn't mind having a niece with my same name, and my sister was really enthusiastic about it. Her wife gave me a death glare. I just ended up getting the silent treatment. At dinner, I asked if she would pass the potatoes, and she didn't listen. I repeated myself, she ignored me, and then my sister told her I had asked for her to pass the potatoes. Suddenly, she was all bubbly and giggling. Guess I didn't hear. What do I do? Should I tell my sister? Directly challenge her? I have very positive relationships with my parents and my sister, and I want to be really involved with my niece/nephew, so I really don't want to go 100% no contact or anything. How can I try to resolve or at least get over this? Mini update, as of this morning. So, we all had breakfast together. I sat across from my sister, between my parents, with my Sil kitty corner to me. My Sil actually spoke to me. But it wasn't all that positive. She asked if I was seeing anyone, in kind of a snarky tone. I said no, school was really busy, I just didn't have time, etc. She responded, well, not everyone finds someone. My sister tried changing the subject, asking my parents whether or not they'd gone to their winter home yet. They're those rich people. My Sil was so nice to them. She was saying what a gorgeous house it is, how grateful she was to have been able to take a vacation there with my sister last month. My mom is easily flattered, so once my Sil got started, she started gushing about her, and it was just a mush fest. After breakfast, I offered to go take our dogs for a walk. When I came back, my parents had left with my sister to go shopping again, and my Sil was the only one home. She asked me how I was liking college, and I said I was liking it a lot. I major in pre-dental, started talking about it a bit, and she rolled her eyes. I apologized for oversharing, and she said, no. It's fine. You just have a problem with reading the room, I guess. Then, she walked away. When my sister comes home, I'm definitely going to tell her about it. Additional info, Oop clarified why Sil may not like her. There was one thing I might be able to think of in terms of her wedding. It was initially scheduled on the day of my finals. This was prior to invitations being produced/mailed, just their idea, so I called my sister to tell her I either wouldn't make it, or the date would have to be changed. She was really upset about it, because she and her wife had wanted a winter wedding. The date seemed perfect for them, etc. I said they didn't have to sacrifice the winter aspect, just maybe move it a day back. There was a kind of big fight, and I can assume my sil got in on it, but my sister is the kind of person who likes to be liked, think of her as a human golden retriever, and she didn't want to be mad at me, so we worked through it. Her wedding ended up being the day after my finals, which I was grateful for, and there's been no resentment or hard feelings since. My sister actually laughs at herself for being kind of an ass. Her choice quote from that time was, "You just don't have to go. It's just a test." I was my sister's mo, and I didn't see much of my sil prior to the wedding. She'd gotten food poisoning from her bachelorette party, so she was kind of holed up for the majority of the pre-wedding hubbub. During the reception, I made a toast, talked about my sister and her wife's friendship, how we've just been waiting for the two of them to get married, they're a match made in heaven, etc. etc. She teared up, gave me a big hug, and said she was excited to be my sister-in-law. I wanted to talk more with her, but some relatives wanted to ask me why I chose the college I did, so I went to go talk to them. I'm probably going to bring this up with my sister either today, or tomorrow. It all depends on what my sil is up to. Update, so, I didn't get the chance to talk to my sister. When my parents came back from shopping with my sister, my mom started saying how she had the perfect onesie for her granddaughter. Before my sil could start gushing, I asked what my mom meant. She asked if I hadn't heard I'd be having a niece, and I replied I hadn't. My sister said it was weird, because she'd asked her wife to tell me once they'd gotten the ultrasound. Her wife had zero excuse, and had the most deer in the headlights reaction. There was something that just sort of snapped, and I started crying. I felt kind of spoiled and horrible for it, so I apologized, and went upstairs with the dogs. My parents came upstairs, and my mom went to go ask if I was okay, and my sister and her wife started shouting downstairs. My mom basically said that my sil does not like me, and that it wasn't really my fault, she's just bad with people she doesn't know, and took it out on me inappropriately. And yes, my sil was still pissed about the wedding date thing, which just made it worse. I felt really shitty and just like really bad? Part of it wasn't my fault, but part of it was my fault. And apparently my sister knew about both issues beforehand, and had given my sil directions to try and get along with me. They were still shouting downstairs, and I was kind of bordering on a meltdown, so I asked my mom if we could take the dogs for another walk. We went out the back, and when we came home, my sister had left the house to cool down, and her wife was upstairs. I spent most of the rest of the day downstairs, until my sister came home. She had obviously been crying, and was in a bad mood. My mom took her into the kitchen to try and calm her down, so I kept sitting in the living room. I felt like a bratty little kid again. I genuinely felt like I'd fucked up my sister's marriage and probably ruined our relationship in the process too. Everything just felt awful, and when my sister came out of the kitchen, she didn't even look at me, just went storming back upstairs. Her wife started yelling first, and they were fighting for a while before it got quieter upstairs. My mom, dad, and I went out for dinner, and when we came home, my sil was waiting for us. My sil apologized to me, saying she had been petty and rude, and that the wedding date thing had been a non-issue. I said it was okay if she was upset about the wedding thing, but I wish she had let me know. She said it wasn't that easy, since my sister would basically take a bullet for me, and it had caused them a big fight before their wedding. I said I had no idea, and that I was sorry to be the source of that tension, and I just wanted to be able to be a good sister-in-law myself, and be a good aunt. My sil got angry, and said I had ruined the opportunity for the first one, and she wasn't banking on the second one. Then, she stormed upstairs, and she and my sister got into another big fight. I felt awful. The bad feelings manifested physically, and I spent most of the night throwing up while my sister and her wife fought. My mom was really kind to stay up with me, and my dad tried to get my sister and her wife to get off each other's backs. I specifically heard my sil shouting, "Who would you jump in front of a train for? Me, or her?" And my sister responded, without missing a beat, "My sister, no questions asked." They got quieter after that, and my sil started up the screaming about an hour later saying, "I'd let all my siblings die for you." My sister slept on the couch, and the two of us went out for breakfast in the morning. She basically said that after my sil gave birth, she and my sister were going to separate. They would try counseling prior to the birth, and afterwards too, but if things weren't getting better, they'd be divorcing. I said that it shouldn't have gotten that far, and I was sorry for pushing the both of them. My sister said that my sil does this to all my sister's friends, and they've been fighting often. But, she clarified that the way she treated me was a deal breaker. She said it might have sounded sad, but I was her best friend from birth, and she wouldn't let me not feel welcome like that. I felt really guilty, and started crying again. She kept saying she wanted it this way, their relationship was broken as is, etc. It's been tense and awkward ever since. My sil won't look at me or speak to me, and I've given up. My sister has been by my side a lot, and has amped up the good sister behavior 10x. I feel like shit, everything is really terrible, and I'm sure I'm going to be making another post during the actual Christmas bullshit. Not a great update, but there we are.